a friendship that'll never ever end.
Run!
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Reaction Beanie Yo 652. That in that neighborhood, my brothers and sisters, as we proceed to give you what you need, it is another Wednesday, Bean Team. So y'all know who we're about to go back to? Mike from that chapter. That chapter Wednesdays, y'all. And the title of the video is Wife Stages Deadly Home Invasion to Hide Her Dark Secret. Milton Sawyer. Now, long story short, short story long, this sounds like the classic case of a freaking spouse, in this case, the wife murdering her husband and then trying to fake like it was some type of intruder or home invasion or whatever who actually did the crime. But no, she did the crime, and I just hope y'all she get life. I hope she have to do the freaking time. But we're about to see. But before we see, my brothers and sisters, y'all know what y'all got to do. Get whatever you may need. Get what you need, please. It is always a delight when we get to go back to Mike. Y'all got what y'all need? Y'all ready to go? Then let's go.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video, we have an actress, and she could give one of them Meryl Streeps a run for her money. See, there was a fella named Milton who ran an antiques store with a name like Milton sounds about right. And didn't Milton meet an angel? I mean, her name was Angel, and woo! She was something else, let me tell you. And by something else, I mean anything but an angel. And it's kind of funny because in this story, we have an angel and we have the devil. So there you go, look forward to that. Alright, I'll stop yammering on about all of this intro stuff, and let's give it a go.
Let's give it a go. And get whatever you may need.
Alright folks, listen up. This old story today takes us to this little old place called Elizabeth City. Who thinks up these names? I'll never know. This is mad stuff. It's a small city in northern North Carolina, near the banks of the ever-flowing Pasquotank River. Elizabeth City, the jewel of northern North Carolina, they say. And you know, it's also known as the Harbor of Hospitality, if you can believe that. Look at you. It's got a big old Coast Guard base, toot toot, and other boat noises. And it's also got a major port, and it's home to my favorite, a potato festival. Quite frankly, folks, if you're looking for a place with a humid subtropical climate, averaging 88 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer, 37 degrees Fahrenheit in the winter, then I've found the place for you. Speaking of temperature, it's going to get very hot in here for some people very soon, and I'm talking HE double hockey sticks. You'll all know why real soon if I do a good job telling this story. Hopefully, let's see how this plays out. It was August 2nd, 2018, a Thursday, that Elizabeth City Police were chilling at the station, you know, eating donuts, munch, 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 and all that kind of stuff. It was skeleton shift time at around 2 a.m. And in that silence, punctured only by donut eating sounds, there was a ring. Somebody had dialed 911. And the call, it was pretty horrifying. It's not one, you know, the cops in sleepy Elizabeth City would ever expect to get. Not in this part of the state. It was murder and it was mayhem.
Uh-oh.
911, location emergency. My next door neighbor just came and knocked on my door. When I went to the door, she was crying and she thinks her husband is dead. She can't get him to wake up or anything like that. She says the guy broke into the house. He has a gun. She's got blood on her face where he hit her with the gun. He robbed their house, took all their money.
On the phone was a guy named Carl, and he was telling the police that his neighbor had just pounded the shit out of his door, covered in blood and screaming for help. Her name was Angel, and she had just escaped. A masked intruder had slipped into her home where she lived with her husband Milton and pistol whipped the shit out of her. He had been a home invader. He was there for, their things, but Angel had managed to escape. Her husband Milton still in the house. Though was he still breathing? That was the question.
I got a question for her already. How did you manage to escape? You know what I'm saying? How the freak did the killer let you get away? Huh, Angel?
Police arrived to the darkened neighborhood on the edges of Elizabeth City. They found Carl and a battered Angel, blood dripping from her head, duct tape around her hands. Angel's own home next door, pitch black. The police went through the darkened home, which someone had made shite of, and in the bedroom lay Angel's husband, Milton Sawyer. He lay on the floor, hands duct taped, and he was ice cold. It looked like a struggle had taken place, and Milton hadn't won it. A deadly home invasion, and now the homeowner lay dead. Who and why?
Good question.
Milton Sawyer had grown up in Elizabeth City, and he was a well-known man about town, beloved by many. He grew up in a large family with all sorts of siblings with whom, or is it who, he was very, very close with. He seemed like a larger-than-life guy, to be honest, popular wherever he went, which, for work, started out in computer science. But one thing Milton got from his dad was a love of collectibles. Collecting the old shite, you know yourself. And it began like a passion for him, so much so that he eventually gave up his clackety data entry, computer entry job, and he opened up his own antiques store called The Treasure Hunter. He opened that up in Elizabeth City, and they would buy and sell all sorts of items, Some may call them junk meat, I call them treasures. And they would buy and sell gold too.
Everything's for sale, my friend. Everything. If I had a sister, I'd sell her in a second.
Milton, he had been married at one stage, but that hadn't panned out. Their 3 kids, though, doing real good. And in fact, it was at his kids' school that, in 2011, Milton met an Angel Kissinger. She too, like Milton, divorcee, 4 kids of her own, and so, with a few things in common, they bonded. First over, raising kids. What's it like to raise kids, be divorced? And then they bonded then later over dinner and wine and something. They actually married very, very quickly. They got married in 2012, which is 1 year after meeting. I mean, I guess maybe they were approaching middle age. They were like, let's not waste time. You can still waste time, it's fine. She soon began helping out at the Treasure Hunter, then finding items for the store. People would always say they seemed like they were young and in love. Milton, 48, Angel, 39, but they acted like kids, giggling together and all that kind of shit that, make you sick. And so Milton, Angel, his 3, her 4, they became a big family of 9, and life seemed great. They seemed happy. And over the years, the store, it started to go downhill a little bit, turnover wasn't great. It kind of started out as this fancy antiques store, and it slowly kind of became more and more like a kind of shitty pawn store. But you know what, hey listen, you gotta do what you gotta do, and they were happy enough. That was of course until August 2018, when someone broke in and Milton was killed. He was strangled and he was asphyxiated.
And I'm wondering now, y'all, did she do this on her own to Milton, or did she hire somebody? Or did she let somebody, so to speak, basically into the home? You know what I'm saying? Was it somebody else involved in this case who actually committed the murder of Milton Sawyer? You know what I'm saying? I'm wondering that right now, because I don't think she would be able to fake all this on her own without somebody else being involved. I don't know. I'm thinking a little too deep. I'm thinking a little too hard right now. Let's go.
Milton Sawyer was the owner of this antique shop and was known by a lot of people in this community. And as this piece pretty much sums up, he was Elizabeth City's most treasured hunter.
He wasn't just, like the guy who ran the antique shop. He was the guy who, who helped out the community.
Thursday around midnight, Pasquotank County sheriffs say a man broke into the Sawyers' home off of Darien Drive. attacking Sawyer and his wife, Angel. The burglar got away with money, jewelry, and other items from the home. And sadly, Sawyer died from the attack.
See, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, it's actual money and jewelry or whatever missing from the home. Like, the fact that she got beat up and stuff. Like, I don't know, man. Did she beat her own self up? I don't know, y'all. I think it is somebody else involved. But she involved too. She knew what the hell was going on and she just faking the funk. Long story short. Short story long. Let's go.
Angel said that in the home at the time was just herself and Milton. They had their two youngest kids. They still lived with them, but they just happened to be out at sleepovers at the time on this particular night. They left earlier on in the day. In fact, that's perhaps how the killer, this home invader, got in. The back door to their home had been left unlocked. Shortly after midnight, both Angel and Milton, they were in bed watching Game of Thrones, which though in 2018 means it's one of the shitter seasons. Sorry. Angel got up at one point though to get a little snack, get some grub. She opened the door and on the other side was a masked intruder with an iron. He was demanding gold and jewelry, which from their business they would pawn all the time, and he began to hit them both. He duct taped them both up. He brought them into their ensuite, into their bathroom, and began just tearing up the whole place, looking for any valuables he could find. At one point he dragged Angel out, demanding, more jewelry. At one point she tried to grab her phone, which he smashed. Then he went into the bathroom. Angel said she didn't know what happened in there, but she could hear struggling. Believed that he choked Milton to death. This masked intruder, he then fled. Angel went in, saw her husband. He was unresponsive at the time. She ran then for help.
He smashed the phone, hit me really hard. I could just feel the blood dripping down my face. I couldn't get him to wake up. I couldn't roll him over. He was too big and heavy. And I couldn't get him to breathe. I just want to know where he is.
You didn't make it?
No.
I'm sorry.
No. Oh no.
Them fake ass goddamn tears, them goddamn crocodile alligator tears.
So who had this guy been? I mean, likely somebody who had been watching them, who knew they would have gold, jewelry, and cash on their person, who knew that was what they did, with their business on the reg. Sketchy people would come in all the time looking to pawn. Perhaps one of them had followed them home. One suspect from the start was a guy named Dylan, who only hours earlier had sold Milton a TV. He had a history, so maybe the police thought he followed Milton home, wanting more. He didn't have an alibi for the home invasion, simply that he was home alone.
Well, he met a guy named Dylan. Dylan who?
I don't remember her last name. He's always with this one girl. I think that boy just got out of jail. And the girlfriend came in trying to sell stuff so she could bail him out of jail.
And the girlfriend came in trying to pawn stuff.
She took it all.
The problem is with you that when you sit here, you always try to outsmart us, and you try to pretend like you're cooperating, and you're really not. So are you doing that now?
No, I'm not.
A possible lead, but shady character, there ain't no shortage of them. Angel too would be questioned to see if, there was anything she knew which could help the case.
How have you been coping?
Can't eat, can't drink, can't sleep.
We're both sorry for your loss.
One of the last things she said about, the day of was that, they'd gone out for dinner, and then Milton had gone to buy this TV off Dylan out of hours at a Hardee's, in a Hardee's parking lot. And she said she was actually pissed off that Milton had done this. She thought Dylan was a shady character, so she said she was kind of upset with him about all this.
Fight the whole of that, that's why I don't know why you buy this from people. How do I know these people aren't going to follow us back to our house?
Other than that, though, she said, they were happy. Happy out. Well, okay, fine. I mean, if you need me to say something negative, I guess I will. Milton could be a bit of a bastard at times. Just saying. Don't mean to speak ill of the dead.
We were, we made love.
Okay.
And we were fine. We were very affectionate with one another. We would literally make love every morning and night, every day, for the last few months. And he always make the joke, you must be getting tired of me. No, I'm not. Our relationship was good.
He could be the controlling, jealous type, she would say.
He was always very jealous. I mean, it was hard for him because he's always said you're so attractive, you can have anyone you want. And, you know, I would always reassure him that I just wanted him. But we dealt with that a lot.
And that had only gotten worse of late. See, Angel had been in a car accident, and after the car accident, she needed some minor physical therapy. So she'd gone to the Centara Medical Center in Elizabeth City. This was in the autumn of 2017, and what she began to get from her physical therapist was something called dry needling, which, it's honestly, folks, from what it's the same thing as acupuncture. Little needles.
Oh.
Alright. Her dry needlist, physical therapist, was a guy named Isaac Melcher, and they would have a session 2-3 times a week. Milton, though, did not. Once he found out that her physical therapist, he's a man, he's a dude, he's a bloke. No way, Jose, he did not like another man getting his grubby little mitts on his wife, his beautiful wife. I mean,
welcome and meet the murderer of this case. Seriously, man, he the one who freaking did it. He is the one who actually carried out this act.
That's what Milton thought.
And he knows that I love him. He knows that I would never cheat on him. It's just not who I am. So I finally just quit. I said I'd rather be in pain physically than to make you suffer. If it was that important to you that I not go to physical therapy, I won't go.
So she stopped, but Elizabeth City ain't big, and they would still bump into each other from time to time. Milton, Angel, and Isaac. Milton, though, he would get really pissed off every time he seen Isaac. He didn't like, him interacting with his wife. As I said, very controlling, jealous type. Didn't want anybody even touching Angel. And one time, Milton exploded in a rage at Isaac.
Then all of a sudden he became really angry, and I was like, what's the problem? What's wrong? And he said, your effing therapist is here with his family.
And this wasn't some bullshit that Angel was inventing just to tell the police. Like, Milton's son would say, yeah, Dad told me about this all the time. Milton would call his son to vent about Isaac and how annoyed he was seeing him around town. The fact that he was getting his grubby little paws on his wife, that sort of thing. And of course, Isaac and Angel would deny it. There's nothing, it's just physical therapy. There's nothing, sexual going on here at all. But Milton still didn't like it. He even called up Isaac Melcher's boss one time to give him a piece of his mind. Police even had to be called. Police even went to the treasure hunter antique store and were like, Milton, slow your roll, calm down. At the same time, though, Milton's siblings would also say, Angel Sawyer, she's kind of like a bit of a narcissist. She kind of like really is in love with herself. She kind of gets off on Milton thinking about her getting off with somebody else, and she kind of just gets off on him being jealous of anybody around her. But Angel would say nothing was happening between herself and Isaac. Wink, wink. So did Isaac Melcher kill Milton. Isaac was married with kids. Why would he? And I mean, would you kill for this face? Dylan was later cleared, and so Isaac Melcher came into focus. He was originally from Oregon and had moved to North Carolina and was very religious. He married, worked physical therapy, hard-working family man with 3 kids. So the police, they went and spoke with him, if only to clear him. And he said the night of, he had been home all night. He only had to leave at one point after he spilled water on his cell phone, and so he had to go to Walmart to purchase a new cell phone. The police were like, okay, that's interesting, but whatever. Then a couple of days later, they actually got a search warrant for his home, just to snoop around, right? And then they went there and they found out he wasn't there at all. He'd gone to Oregon. He had gone home. Now, Isaac had left for Oregon. His mom was dying, so it kind of made sense. But Isaac, he was an interesting guy. As a kid, troubled youth for sure. Always up to no good, angry at the world. That is until he found Jesus, ladies and gentlemen. Lucky him. He had a friend in Oregon who acted as his youth spiritual leader, a pastor type, name of Louis, who really steered Isaac right and kept him on the straight and narrow. Saved him from a life of, being up to no good, And Louis would later say that when Isaac came back to Oregon to see his mom, he had met up. They had met up. They hadn't seen each other in many, many years. When Isaac left and traveled across the country and began working in North Carolina. Louis would say they hadn't really kept in contact that much. But during this trip, Isaac had given him a little ring and said, how are you? You know, could I bend your ear? Let's meet up, have a coffee. Would you mind doing confession for me? Louis was not a priest, by the way. He wasn't a priest. He was like he wasn't even a preacher. He wasn't like an actual, he was just like a spiritual guy who was helping these kids through religion, which is great. Like, he wasn't an actual ordained person. But Isaac said he just needed to get something off his chest. Louis always, was fond of him, so he said, lay it on me, brother. And so, Isaac had a story of him falling in love with a woman who had a dangerous husband. He was obsessed with this woman, and he needed to save her. Her husband was scary, though, threatened to kill her. So, he had to get him gone. And gone he did get him. And so, as you can imagine, Louis, the preacher guy, hearing this, that Isaac just confirmed he murdered somebody, said, well, you should probably turn yourself in. That would be, if you're looking for spiritual advice, that would be the right thing to do. Isaac refused, says, hey, hold on, not that spiritual. I'm not going to throw my life away. So Louis did it for him. He called the Elizabeth City Police. He told them Isaac's entire story about what Isaac had told him in Oregon about the murder of Milton Sawyer. But the police, the Elizabeth City Police were talking to Louis. They were like, it's a good story. Tell that over a couple of beers. It's a humdinger. But, do you have any proof of what you just said? Like, how can... So what they literally did was, they traveled out to Oregon, met up with Louis, and they were like, hey Louis, why don't you call Isaac? Call him, put him on speaker, and let's hear. And, hey, remember that time you told me about how you murdered somebody? Can you just tell me again real quick, sir? I forgot. You'll have to speak up. The police are listening.
I know, right? Like, come on, man. Is that plan gonna work? But no, y'all, that whole thing right there, it's crazy, number one, that he admitted to the preacher man that he had murdered somebody. But it made me think about something, that a real life story that my mama have told to me before. And this before I was even born. I wasn't even born at this point. But long story short, story long, there was a man, a friend of my mama's, who actually came to her house, sat down at her table, and told her about somebody he had just murdered. You know what I'm saying? Like, just confessed to her and was like, he did it. You know what I'm saying? That he can't believe he did it. He's sorry he did it, but he did it. My mama was talking about how she was in disbelief. I ain't heard this story from her in years. But long story short, story long, she was sitting right there talking about how, like, she was in disbelief. Like, no, you ain't do that. You ain't do that. And he was like, yes, I did. Yes, I did. And long story short, story long, they end up calling the police. The police came and got him. And he got locked up for the rest of his life, man. And it's so crazy how these murderers out here, they have it on their conscience so bad till it feel like they just gotta tell somebody. You know what I'm saying? They may not tell the police, may not even tell a family or a family member, but they'll tell somebody more than anything that they trust, that they feel like they can just get that burden off them with. And most times the person that they tell gonna help them go do the right thing and gonna go to jail. You know what I'm saying? Gonna turn yourself in. That's what most, and I'm gonna say most, not all the time, but most of the people would do when they hear their family or friend come to them admitting that they committed murder, man. You gotta turn yourself in. You got to. Let's go. And if you don't, then goddamn it, I'm gonna have to tell on you. Let's go.
Good, Isaac. How are you?
Have the police been back? Have they done any more investigating?
I'll be honest with you, I'm not entirely comfortable speaking about that over the phone.
Isaac called him back, this time over the app Signal, which is a secure communications app. Can't be tapped or whatever. But the thing was, the police were still there. Like, they were still sitting right beside the phone, which was on loudspeaker. They could hear everything.
The plan was for her to leave him. And something changed. She did not think that he would let her go. That he would probably survive if she tried to leave him. I reached the place where I asked the devil to help me. Yes. Because I knew that I had to come away from my back on God to do this.
Did y'all just hear what the freak he just said right there? That Here's some of the most terrible thing I can ever hear somebody say, man. This man said, first of all, he asked the devil to help him do this. And he knew. That's the first craziness. But then he follows it up by saying, because he knew he had to turn his back on God. Who the freak thinking like what? Turn your back on God, bruh? Are you kidding me right now? Like, what? Boy, that ain't nothing but the devil. The devil was inside of him to even think or talk like that. That's crazy.
There is premeditation. And I will trivialize it because it's horrible. What I did was a horrible thing. Beyond, doesn't even do it justice.
It was odd though. So the detectives were in Oregon with Louis, who's on the phone on loudspeaker, Louis on one end of the line. And on the other end of the line, back in North Carolina, was Isaac with his wife. He was talking about murdering Milton Sawyer What?
Hi, Louie.
What?
Hi, Darlene. How are you doing?
I'm well. We got to celebrate our 30th birthday, so I'm very thankful. Isaac called me the day that it happened to tell me that it had happened.
Now, when you say what it had happened,
I'm talking about the murder. The thing I did not know about at all until the night he told me about it.
if somehow I don't get arrested, there is still a desire in my heart to be with Angel. And amazingly enough, Darlene is still willing to walk through this with me.
I forgive you, and I have compassion on you, and I am going to be with you as hard as it is.
What a wife.
Okay, yo, this shit gone to another level of craziness now. Come on, man. The wife is just crazy on so many different levels, and this whole thing is just freaking crazy. First of all, this man murdered somebody. Just take him being your husband out of the equation. He murdered somebody, and you could cool with it. Okay, now put him being your husband into the equation. He murdered somebody. Him being your husband should make you want to tell on him even more, right? You know what I'm saying? Because it's a loved one, and you got to do the right thing when it's a loved one, man, because you wouldn't want somebody else's loved one to freaking murder your loved one and they not tell. You get what I'm saying on that part, being team? And then we look at it like this. He literally said that he want to be with goddamn the other lady. Can't think of her name. Isaac said he want to be with her. And Darlene sitting right here saying that she gonna walk through it with him. What you mean walk through it with him? Maybe they on some what it is, polygamous, monogamous, whatever, monogamy. Yeah, y'all know the word, man, where it be multiple people in a freaking in a relationship. Maybe they on some ish like that, man, but that is just freaking crazy. It took this to a whole nother level. You literally know this man murdered his side chick. Your husband murdered his side chick husband, and he still want to be with her. And not only that, you are okay with it. You still want to be with him too. Make it make sense, being team.
I gotta get me one of those. He's banging this other chick. He's become obsessed with her, and he murdered her husband. And all the while, what an amazing wife. She's just like, well, shit, you gotta do what you gotta do.
The police came to question me while I was out of town, and I just told them that I can't be compelled to testify about anything that was shared to me about myself.
What a woman. There's only one thing I can say about that. Severe brain damage. I mean, if somebody cheated, sure, you can forgive. If they murdered for that, well, it's a bit of a stretch. But then them saying at the end, oh, I still love her, and I'm actually going to get back with her as soon as this investigation kind of like peters out. Well, you need your head examined. And then over the phone, Isaac finally admitted Angel, she knew about the murder.
The only reason that she has to not say anything is because there's a good chance that she would be, implicated and arrested and go to jail also for conspiracy to commit murder.
It seemed clear, like, honestly, this is all just making complete sense, that Angel and Isaac planned on committing this murder because of, oh yeah.
Oh my God.
But the police had no proof that Angel actually knew anything. I mean, for all it could turn out that Isaac was in fact a crazy person, as crazy as his wife perhaps. Maybe he had just become obsessed with her. This was all in his head. He had murdered Milton Sawyer because he believed him and Angel were in love. You know, maybe he believed all this to be true when it wasn't true in reality at all. And Angel was an actual victim of his stalker obsession thing. So the police took Angel in and she admitted, okay, fine, they banged. They bumped uglies, as the kids say, for real, no cap. But that was it. It was maybe once, okay, two, okay, fine, it was 3 times, but that was it. She would say, yeah, it's all in his head. Isaac had become obsessed with me. He was scary. He was scaring her.
Turn of events this morning. Isaac has been under arrest. He's come in this morning.
Good.
Well, he's said a lot of stuff about you.
About me? What?
Well, that's what we need to talk about. Tell us stuff about the affair. Be truthful about the relationship. There's more. Y'all did more than talk. It was sexual, correct?
There were 2 times.
There were 2 times. Okay.
Yes, sir. And it was actually 3 times.
She had no idea he would kill. She didn't even know it was him at the time when he had invaded.
He told me, if you don't stick to the story that you're broken in, I'll find you and I will kill you.
Why did you steer us away from him?
That he was going to kill me and my kids if I didn't.
Just the perception
I understand.
is that you've lied to us from the beginning,
I understand.
which you have.
I understand.
So why should we believe you, who's told us at least 2 or 3 sets of lies?
I don't blame you for not believing me.
Well, it's been a few weeks since Milton Sawyer was murdered. As you can see outside of his store in downtown Treasure Hunter, well, still a memorial remembering this man who a lot of people around here love dearly. It appeared like Milton Sawyer Jr. and his wife Angel Sawyer were happily married. But on Tuesday, Angel Sawyer, along with Dustin Melcher, were both charged with first-degree murder regarding the death of Milton Sawyer Jr.
Both Angel and Isaac were now charged with first-degree murder, but they would need to get one of them to flip on the other. One would need to testify against the other person for this to go all the way, especially as the evidence against Angel was weak in fairness. It would be Isaac who would flip in the end over, well, calls like this.
I'm very sorry for everything that's happened. Angel? Are you there? What the
The caller has hung up.
Isaac's story went like this, and yeah, you've probably already guessed it, folks. Manipulation to murder. During the PT sessions, she would vent about Milton, shitty husband. Then it turned to her sending Isaac pictures of a sexual nature.
She brought up again, oh, you know, I'm out in the hot tub naked, and that turned into her sending me a picture. My ability to step away at that point was gone.
Then it evolved into a trip to Pound Town. They were commuting, they did it so often. She stopped the session when Milton began to suspect something, though they kept it up out of the medical center. Isaac did attempt to actually end it with Angel at one point, though she did the old, if you end it with me, I might just do something. That kind of old classic manipulation, though Isaac was clearly into crazy bitches. It then evolved into a murder plot when Milton wouldn't let her leave, she said.
One day, she contacted me and said, I can't leave because if I do, he'll kill me. The only way that I will ever be able to leave is if he dies of natural causes.
Or unnatural ones.
She claimed that he would track her down and either bring her back or kill us both.
First plan was to poison him with pills mixed with beer. Then it was decided to be a home invasion. He did bring a gun that night, but it was empty. It was always going to be strangulation. Ultimately, Angel was found guilty of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. She killed Milton to get the money, get the business, and leave with her new, younger husband. She was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Melcher, he got a deal. He made a deal testifying against his former lover, and so he got second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 25 years. His wife, she finally left him. I love that that's the straw that broke the camel's back. Cheating, no. Murder, no. Admitting to your wife you want to leave. And she's saying, yep, that still wasn't enough. No, prison. 25 years in prison was enough. Shinny. That is the story of Milton Sawyer. You know, unfortunately, I mean, I always say this is like, I do have so many more videos to make, And unfortunately, though, it is unfortunate. I've got so many more stories of murderous folk to cover, so stay tuned. Stay tuned, folks. And finally, one thing, Angel seems like she was obsessed with her own looks. Like, everybody would say how narcissistic she was. She always thought she was the most beautiful person in the room. She would always talk about how sexy and attractive she was, and obviously Isaac felt the same, so all of that kind of leads me to only one conclusion. He was suffering the same brain damage that his wife was. Thank you so much for watching. It means the absolute world to me that you're here watching me watching this whole video, guys. Your support truly means the absolute world to me. So thank you. Right, next video will be up when it's up, either next Tuesday or maybe next Friday, who knows? But keep a sharp eye. But until then, please take care of each other. Please take care of yourselves. Because I love you. Mike out.
Mike freaking out, Bean Team. It is always a delight when we get to go back to freaking Mike, man. I enjoyed that video too. And just it came with some curveballs in it, because number one, I was thinking like, hold on, because at first I'm thinking like she just committed this murder on her own. You know what I'm saying? Nobody else was involved in it. She just was faking like somebody had broken into the home or whatever. But then I got to looking at the evidence and stuff. I'm like, no, somebody else got to be involved in this ish. And lo and behold, it's her side man. What you got, the side chicken, the side man, side boy? I guess side man sound better. I don't know, but you know what I'm saying? She having an affair, and the dude she having a freaking affair with end up murder, and they end up plotting to murder her freaking husband. It's like, man, goddamn, dude. Like these affairs, y'all, it's crazy how the two people in the affair, they don't think about nobody else. They don't think about, they had, how many kids they had between them? Like 9. I know one of them had 4, then the other one had 5 or something. Like, they was a huge family. Or they had 7 kids, then they made 9. Tomato, man. It was a lot of them, man. Y'all ain't thinking. Well, I'm not gonna say y'all. I ain't blaming nothing on Milton. Rest in peace to Milton. But Angel, man, you ain't thinking about your kids, your step kids, and what this gonna do for them. All because you getting your rocks off with a new man, and this man fell head over heels for you. This man most definitely fell head over heels for you. And that brings me to the other part where it was just a curveball thrown in there, just some thrown up in there. Darlene, freaking Isaac wife, that lady crazy as hell, man. She's like, she really got some problem going on in her head, man. When she was talking to the preacher man on the phone and talking how she was just casually talking about it, like, yeah, he said he had did it a couple of days ago. Like she talking about, yeah, he went outside in the driveway and washed the car a couple of days ago. You like, it's just some nonchalant-ish. No, you talking about that you know that your husband has sat right here and murdered somebody, man. And then not only that, he told me about the affair, and he said he want to still be with her, but we gonna make it through it. I'm gonna walk through it with him. Walk through it where? I don't know what the freak, man. Like I said, maybe she was thinking like Isaac was gonna have two wives or something. I don't know what the freak her head was at, man. And like Mike said, it took, after all that, the only thing that made you end up breaking up with him is when he got them 25 years in prison. Now, me personally, I guess I would take the 25 years. I really would wish he would have got 25 to life. You know what I'm saying? But I'm happy Angel ass got 25. I'm not 25. No, take that back. She got life in prison. I'm happy she got life in prison. But I really would have gave him life too, man. If that is. Y'all know how I feel about these freaking murders. Especially when you plotting, and it's like, I don't even agree with the 2nd degree murder charge that he got. But oh yeah, he took a plea. He copped the plea, man. Them pleas end up getting you off and not giving you the full punishment that you should get. And he was smart enough to go and take it when the police or whatever offered it to him. But I digress. I'm gonna go let y'all go now, Big Team. Another great That Chapter Wednesday. I appreciate y'all coming on back as always. And before you leave, just please hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and do all that if you ain't did that yet. And remember this: love, peace, and happiness. Stay safe. Don't stop. Keep going. Yeah.